Yo, Cleveland! Something massive is brewing inside the Browns facility, and the Dawg Pound is about to explode because a franchise-altering move involving our biggest star is currently hitting the airwaves. You won't believe which powerhouse team is aggressively calling about a potential blockbuster deal that changes everything for our defense. Before we dive into these shocking trade rumors that could redefine our entire future, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now to stay updated on every single Browns move this season. Let's get into it right now. Myles Garrett Brown's star is actually being linked to the Dallas Cowboys in what would be the absolute biggest shocker of the entire NFL offseason. And we got to talk about how this would change everything in the 216 because this ain't just your typical rumor mill garbage. Imagine our elite pass rusher wearing a star on his helmet instead of the orange, and Brown we love here in Cleveland. The reports are saying that the Cowboys have emerged as a serious potential destination because they want to go all in, and adding a generational talent like this kid would give them an immediate defensive impact that nobody in the league could handle. We are talking about a multi-million-dollar negotiation that would be so massive it would break the internet. And honestly, it's hard to even picture our defense without the focal point of our pass rush, but these rumors are heating up fast. People are saying this move would bring immediate championship aspirations to Dallas while leaving us with a giant hole to fill, but also a ton of assets to work with moving forward. It is the kind of high-stakes gambling that Jerry Jones loves, but for us it feels like a punch to the gut, even if the money involved is absolutely staggering. Inside the building there has to be some serious discussion about whether you can actually move a guy who is the face of the franchise for a haul that could set you up for a decade. This isn't just a football move, it is a business decision that would ripple through the entire AFC North and make everyone rethink how the Browns are operating their roster. If this million-dollar deal actually happens, we are looking at a total shift in power, and while the thought of seeing him in Dallas is enough to make any Cleveland fan sick, you cannot ignore the sheer magnitude of what is being proposed here. The impact would be felt from day one on the field and in the salary cap sheets because this is the kind of move that only happens once in a lifetime for a team, and we are right in the middle of the storm. The buzz around the Mooney lot is that Andrew Berry's phone is ringing off the hook, and we need to be ready for anything. If you think the Browns should keep their superstar defender no matter what, drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Myles Garrett Brown's news is getting even more intense because analysts have now put forward 3 specific trade scenarios that our front office would find almost impossible to refuse even for their most dominant defensive force. These proposals are not just random filler, they involve a staggering amount of multiple draft picks and several high-impact players that could theoretically replace the production of our star defender while adding depth across the entire roster. When you look at the details of these 3 scenarios, it becomes clear that other teams are willing to mortgage their entire future just to get their hands on a player of this caliber, and that puts us in a very interesting position. One scenario involves getting 3 first-rounders plus a starting-caliber offensive lineman, which would immediately shore up our protection issues, while another focuses on getting a young elite wideout and 2 early picks to give our offense the spark it has been missing lately. The third scenario is a total defensive overhaul that brings in 2 young starters and a haul of mid-round picks to build a more balanced unit overall. These are the kinds of blockbuster offers that keep GMs awake at night, because you have to balance the immediate loss of a superstar with the long-term potential of a loaded roster. In the Dawg Pound, we usually value loyalty and dominance, but when you see a package of this magnitude on the table, you have to wonder if it is time to cash in and start fresh. It is the type of scenario where you are essentially betting on your ability to draft well with all those new picks, and that is a massive gamble in the NFL where nothing is guaranteed. But let's be real for a second, because if you get an offer that includes 3 or 4 premium assets for one guy, you have to at least pick up the phone and listen to what they are saying. The league is buzzing about these 3 specific paths, and if one of them gains traction, we could be looking at a completely different team by next Sunday. This is where dynasties are built or broken, and the decision made here will echo through the halls of our stadium for years to come. Our elite defensive end is the ultimate trade chip. Should we cash in on our star now to build for the future? Tell me what you'd do if you were in the GM's shoes right now. Myles Garrett Brown's trade talks are reaching a fever pitch as experts now suggest that moving our legendary defender could actually be the fastest way to accelerate the reconstruction of our entire roster, and they have already identified 12 teams that would be perfect candidates. This is a massive list of potential suitors who are all looking for that final piece of the puzzle. and they are willing to pay a king's ransom to get it done before the deadline. Experts are looking at our current situation and realizing that while we have individual brilliance, we might need more overall depth to truly compete in the AFC North, and trading one massive contract for a dozen smaller assets could be the move that finally gets us out of the middle of the pack. From the West Coast to the NFC East, there are 12 different front offices currently crunching the numbers to see if they can fit this defensive monster into their cap space, and the competition is making the price tag go even higher. This isn't just about one or two teams anymore, it is about a league-wide bidding war for a player who can change a game in a single play. And that is exactly the kind of leverage our front office needs if they are going to pull the trigger on a rebuild. For a city like Cleveland, that has seen its fair share of struggles, the idea of a total reconstruction can be scary. But the experts believe this is the most logical path to building a sustainable winner that can compete for a Super Bowl every year, instead of just fighting for a wildcard spot. When you have 12 teams interested, you are in the driver's seat, and you can dictate the terms of the deal to make sure you get every single thing you need to fix this team. This is the kind of massive strategic shift that changes the culture of a franchise. And while it hurts to think about a future without our number one pass rusher, the potential for a quicker turnaround is something that cannot be ignored. The league is watching us very closely right now to see if we have the guts to make a move this big or if we are going to stay the course. Looking at the landscape of the AFC North, the Cleveland Browns are in a precarious position where every single decision regarding the roster feels like life or death for the franchise's aspirations in the coming years. When you have a player who is essentially the heartbeat of your defense being discussed in trade scenarios with 12 different teams, it signals a massive shift in how the organization views its window of opportunity. The salary cap implications of keeping a superstar like this are enormous, and while we all love seeing that dominance on Sundays, the reality of building a deep and balanced roster often requires making these painful, heart-wrenching choices. If Andrew Berry and the front office decide to move forward with a trade, they are essentially saying that the current path isn't enough to bring a trophy back to the shores of Lake Erie, and that a total reset is the only way to catch up to the powerhouses in the division. This kind of analysis is what separates the casual fans from those who understand the cold, hard business of the NFL, where emotional ties to players often get in the way of logical team-building strategies. We have to look at whether the massive haul of draft picks and impact players can truly replace the sheer terror that our star defender strikes into opposing quarterbacks. It is a gamble of historic proportions because if those picks don't pan out, the franchise could be set back for a decade without its primary defensive identity. However, if they hit on those assets, we could be looking at a younger, faster, and more versatile Browns team that finally has the depth to survive the grueling NFL season and make a deep playoff run. The 216 is divided on this, but the strategic necessity of exploring these options is undeniable in today's league. The future of the Cleveland Browns is standing at a massive crossroads right now, and the decisions made over the next few weeks will determine if we are building a sustainable winner or if we are going to be stuck in mediocrity for even longer. Seeing these rumors about our defensive cornerstone hitting the national headlines is a wake-up call for everyone in the Dawg Pound that nobody is truly untouchable when it comes to the business of winning football games. We have to trust that the front office has a vision that goes beyond just one superstar and that they are looking out for the long-term health of the team in Cleveland. This is not just another random trade rumor. This is a potential franchise-defining moment that could be the next cornerstone of the Browns' roster strategy for the next decade if handled correctly. Whether he stays or goes, the impact of this discussion will be felt throughout the entire league. Make sure you stay locked in here because this situation is moving fast and we will be there to break down every single detail as it happens. The land is waiting for answers and we are going to find them together as this story continues to develop. Go Browns!